Hi students, I hope all of you are doing well, and I'm sure all of you were waiting for CAT 26 notification and it's finally here. So in this video, I'm going to quickly share with you the important takeaways from the notification that has been released. We'll be going through all the pages of this notification and we'll talk about the important things that you need to keep in mind as an aspirant. So let's begin. Now, the standard thing is most of the instructions are similar to what they were last year. There are a few key changes which I will talk about. First things first, we now have all 22 IIM logos at the top. Last year, there were 21 IIM logos and Guwahati was not mentioned. It was added later in the form. However, this year, in CAT 26 registration form, you're already going to have IIM Guwahati as part of it. The logo also appears in the notification and the program details also appear under the PGP program details section. So all the IIMs are listed first of all. Then we have the important thing, which is the date of the test. And as it has always been, the last Sunday of November is reserved for CAT. And that's true. The same thing is going to happen this year as well. So on Sunday, 29th November, CAT will be conducted. Similar to last several years, they are going to have 3 slots. That is what is clearly mentioned in the notification. And the standard thing in terms of the PGP, the eligibility, and all of the other things have been mentioned in the notification. So now the first thing that I'm going to take you through is the PGP program details. So here you will have all the IIMs that are listed. There are about 6 or 7 program changes that have happened, wherein they have added a couple of programs for some of the IIMs. Some of the programs have been rebranded or renamed, and you will be able to see those details. However, as a CAT aspirant, I don't think you should be worrying about it so much. You just have to select all the programs in the CAT form. Obviously, we are going to have a detailed form filling guideline video once the actual form filling begins. So don't worry at this point of time about the individual program details. The standard recommendation that we have is to fill every single IIM that you see and all the programs. Of course, if you're not eligible for some of them, you can decide not to apply. But for now, you can just go through the names of the IIMs and the programs that they're offering. Here you will not find the details of the eligibility, etc., which you will find on the individual program website. But we still have some time before we get there. So right now, I would suggest that you don't spend any time on it. Then, if you're eligible for the PhD programs, you will find those details as well. And all the IIMs that are offering the PhD program, you will find the details. Some of them also offer the executive PhD. So if you're eligible, you of course can check out the details on the website. Now, important things for all the applicants is this. So firstly, on the IIM registration page, the CAT registration page, you will see that there will be 2 options that will be given. One is for the candidates, the other is for the institutions as well. And it appears on the same page. So don't get confused. You don't have to register for the institution registration that you will see there. It is actually for the B schools who are going to accept the CAT score. So you just have to register for yourself. There isn't any additional thing that you need to do when you fill the CAT form. For all the other non-IIMs that accept the CAT score, you have to apply on their individual website separately. It is not handled via the CAT website. Okay. And of course, as I mentioned in the form filling guidelines, we'll cover all of those details. So important things firstly is the eligibility. Have they made any changes compared to last year? No. So you need to have a bachelor's degree with at least 50% marks or equivalent, 45% in case of candidates belonging to SC, ST, and the PwBD category. So till last year, they used to call it PwD. And now throughout the document, you will see that it is persons with benchmark disabilities, right? So that is something that is one change that you will see in the document. Then candidates appearing the final year of bachelor's degree can also apply. So those of you who will be completing your graduation in 27, you are eligible to take CAT 26. Okay, so all the final year students, you can apply. Now, couple of important things. The bachelor's degree is definitely the first condition. And what they have given is candidates applying for CAT 26 should fulfill any one of the following conditions. The first is that you need to have completed the bachelor's degree with the required percentage of marks. Second is professional degree. So if you have a CA, CS, ICWA, or if you're a fellow of the Institute of Actuaries of India with required percentage, then also you are eligible. And if not that, then of course, if you're in the final year of bachelor's degree with required percentage, which is set at 50% for general, EWS and NC-OBC, and 45% for SC, ST, PwBD. So if you have that, then you are eligible for the test. Now, regarding percentage of the marks, so how do you decide the eligibility, right? So whatever you have obtained at this point of time. So when you fill the CAT form, all the semesters that you have obtained so far is supposed to be considered for the calculation of percentage. You're not supposed to skip any particular, say, semester or trimester for which you have already received the marks. Whatever you have received, you are supposed to consider it. The other thing is regarding reservation. So they have mentioned the percentage of reservation, which is the standard legal requirements that are there, and the specified disability and the benchmark disability. Those details are also here, right? So you can go through it, and on the CAT website you will find the format in which you are supposed to upload any documents that are there. So whether it is the category certificates or it is the PwD or the scribe format, all of those details will be available on the CAT website. Don't worry about it at this point of time. Okay. But yes, I would suggest that why it is important is because those of you who don't have those documents at this point of time, you need to get things moving and start the process to get those documents. Okay, I'll talk about that. Now, once you enter the reservation, you will not be able to change it, right? So you will not be able to shift your category, and that is why it's important that you enter the appropriate category in your CAT application form. Now, very importantly, they have clearly mentioned that for CAT 26, the NC-OBC certificate must be issued after April 1st, 26. Some of you may not have it, and they have mentioned what is the procedure to be followed in that case. For EWS candidates, the certificate must be valid for 26-27. The assessment of the financial year for which the assessment has happened should be 25-26. Okay. Now, those of you who have already applied, so let's say there could be cases where you already have this document, so nothing needs to be done. Second is those of you who are eligible but have not applied, right? And people who might have already applied, right? So candidates who have applied for the NC-OBC or EWS certificate on or after April 1st but have not received it by the time of CAT registration, you may still submit the CAT application by uploading. There's a single PDF. So there's undertaking that you need to sign. The older NC-OBC or EWS certificate will be required, and the copy of the communication acknowledgement, right, that you have applied for this particular document. So that will be needed. And that is why, so at the time of release of this document and then actual the time when the CAT registration will open, you still have some time. And the CAT registration deadline is in fact in September. So those of you who are eligible for either NC-OBC or EWS documents, which have a particular year associated with them, right? Because NC-OBC has to be issued after a certain date. Same is the case for EWS. For SC/ST students, there isn't anything that you need to do if your certificate is already available, correct? So, and as long as it is in English, right? So they have clearly mentioned that the certificates, and you will find this under FAQ on the CAT website, that the certificate has to be issued in English, correct? So that is why if it is not in the appropriate format, right, if it does not cover all the details as per the CAT format, you need to get a new certificate, and that's why some of you may have to start some procedures to get those documents, right? Otherwise, nothing to be done for the general candidate. So you just have to go through this particular document which is there, the notification document. One change that has happened is the slight increase in the application fee. So for SC/ST PwBD candidates, last year the application fee was 1300. It has gone up by 50 rupees, which is 1350 now. And for all other candidates, whether it is general or NC-OBC or EWS, it was 2600 last year, and that has gone up to 2700. Generally, that is how the trend is. So in the last several years, we have seen that they increase the fees by about 100 rupees every single year. Now, do you need to apply to individual IIMs? No. So when you fill the CAT form, you are supposed to fill all the IIMs. So that is why you are not going to pay anything extra apart from this for the IIMs. However, as I mentioned, for the non-IIMs, you have to make separate applications, and that will happen at a later point of time. So nothing to be done at this point of time. Okay. Now, important thing, when the registration is going to start. So registration will begin on 3rd August and will start at 10 o'clock in the morning. And this will continue till 15 September, and that will close at 5 p.m. Very importantly, don't try to register on the first day itself, right? It's not necessary. Don't believe that if you register on day one, you're going to get the first city preference, unlike the way Zat has mentioned this year. So it's completely random, and that is why you take your time. Don't make any mistakes. And we have seen lot of students making mistakes in their application form, and that's precisely the reason why we come up with these form filling guideline videos, so that you don't make any mistakes. So start gathering the documents. You're going to need your photograph, you're going to need your signature, you're going to need all these documents that might be applicable to you. All your mark sheets are required because you're supposed to enter the exact marks, right? So start gathering those documents. If you have work experience, you need the start date and the end date, right? So all those documents are required. You don't have to upload some of those documents, correct? So start gathering those documents at this point of time. And once you are sure that, okay, I've filled all the details correctly, then you submit the form. I would say give yourself some buffer, and with maximum available information, you can enter. So for example, let's say your some result is going to get announced in the month of August, right? In that case, you wait, let that result come out, and then you can fill the form. So don't be in a hurry to fill the form on day one. However, don't keep it till the last date, right? So that is a standard advice that we give, that don't wait till 15 September, or don't wait in the hope that they will push the registration deadline and all of that. Give yourself sufficient time and then register for the CAT. So they also mentioned that, which is very similar to last year, you're going to have 5 city preferences that you can indicate. And in most cases, they try and give you your first city preference, but it may happen that you get your second or third preference, or even fourth or fifth preference. That's not in your hand. So select cities appropriately, I would say, wherever you stay, or you know that you will be taking the test, that becomes your first preference, and then you can add other preferences. So total 5 preferences is what you're supposed to put. When the admit cards will be available, so starting from 4th November and will continue till 29th November. Again, you will not be able to make any changes in that. So whatever city you get, that is the final thing. They don't entertain any request in terms of changing the city or the slot. Okay, so once you get your admit card, that's your admit card. Very similar to last year. So 170 test cities is where the CAT will be conducted, and yeah, that's about it, more or less. They've also given when the result will be announced. So typically, what we have now seen is they mention that the result will come out in first week of Jan, but generally it is announced in December itself. So though the notification says it will be announced in first week of Jan 27, very good chance that it might get released sometime in the last week of December, as we have seen in the last couple of years. And it also depends on question challenges and all of those things, right? So not in our hand, but typically you can expect it to get released in December itself. The admission process, they mentioned that different IIMs have their individual criteria and so on, which all of you, I'm sure by now you know. So nothing much again to be done there, not in your control, so don't worry about all of that, right? So this is what the CAT notification is right now. As I said, just start gathering documents. Okay, so if you're a general candidate, I'll just summarize quickly. If you're a general candidate, what will you need, right? Your photograph, your signature. Make sure that you have all your mark sheets so that you have the exact score that you're obtained. And if you have any work experience, have those documents with you. For students who belong to any category, if you already have those documents with you, on the CAT website, you already have the formats of the last year, the category documents, and you don't have to get a new document if your existing document is in line with what the CAT format says. Okay, it need not be exact word to word, but as long as it covers the details, right, it is acceptable. So you will need your category certificate for category students. If you're a PwD candidate, you will need your PwD certificate, and the scribe format also is something that you will have to fill. All the formats are available on the CAT website. You can check them out if you need any clarification. And if you have any questions, let me know. As I mentioned, once the registration actually begins, we are going to have a form filling guideline video. Please have a look at that and then start filling your form. Don't be in a hurry to fill it on day one. Okay, so that's about it. I hope this quick video has helped you. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do it immediately. I'll see you soon, and all the best to all the CAT 26 aspirants.